If you've been sprinkling wood ash around your garden thinking you're giving your plants a natural mineral boost, brace yourself. What looks like a harmless gray powder may actually be sabotaging your soil every single time you empty that fireplace bucket. Many gardeners unknowingly turn healthy soil into a chemical battleground, and the damage doesn't show up until plants start failing for reasons nobody connects to ash. Today on Crop Corner, we're uncovering the truth most people never hear about wood ash, and how one simple habit could be draining the life out of your garden. The biggest misunderstanding begins with the belief that ash is just burned wood, and therefore must contain the goodness the tree once held. But once wood meets fire, everything organic in it is destroyed. The carbon structure that once fed soil microbes is gone. The sugars and beneficial compounds have evaporated into the atmosphere, and the nitrogen, one of the core nutrients for growth, disappears completely. What remains is not compost, not humus, and not a gentle fertilizer. It's a highly condensed cluster of inorganic minerals that must be handled with precision. This concentration is why ash can feel soft and powdery, but still behave like a soil-altering chemical. One of the most dangerous traits of wood ash is, well, its extreme alkalinity. Most gardeners are honestly shocked to learn that ash sits around a pH of 12, which is almost as alkaline as bleach. Think about what that does when it's added over and over to garden beds. Soil pH doesn't just rise a little. It climbs steadily until nutrients like iron, magnesium, and phosphorus get trapped in forms that roots just can't access. The nutrients are there, but the plants, they still starve. Leaves lose their color, growth slows down, even heavy applications of compost or fertilizer won't fix the problem because the roots just can't absorb what they need. This nutrient lockout is actually one of the most widespread hidden consequences of misusing wood ash. As if rising pH weren't enough, ash also introduces another, silent enemy. Its salts accumulate in the soil, burning delicate root hairs and pushing away the very organisms that keep the soil alive. Earthworms, which are essential for aeration and nutrient cycling, sense the chemical shift and move out. The result is compacted, dull, lifeless ground that, well, produces weaker crops each season. And because this happens slowly, most gardeners don't realize the cause until the damage is widespread. There's an even larger problem when ash meets nitrogen-rich fertilizers. When both are applied around the same time, they react and release ammonia gas. That sharp ammonia smell is literally your nitrogen escaping into the air. Instead of feeding your plants, you end up feeding the atmosphere, leaving your garden nutrient-poor and imbalanced. Another myth that urgently needs correcting is the belief that ash and biochar are the same. They're actually completely different. Ash is the final product of full combustion and contains almost zero carbon. Biochar, on the other hand, is formed through low oxygen pyrolysis, which preserves carbon and, builds a porous structure that supports water retention and microbial life. Biochar improves soil. Ash, on the other hand, must be treated with caution. Confusing the two can actually lead to some pretty severe soil problems, especially if gardeners just assume that ash carries the same benefits. With all these risks, a lot of gardeners start to wonder whether wood ash should be used at all. But hey, the good news is that it can be incredibly useful when it's applied the right way. Honestly, the safest and most science-backed method is to add wood ash to compost instead of putting it directly onto your garden soil. Compost naturally becomes acidic as it breaks down, and ash gently buffers that acidity. Even more important, compost gives you the organic matter needed to stabilize the minerals in ash, which makes them a whole lot easier for your plants to use later on. For every cubic meter of compost, the ideal amount is 1 kilogram of wood ash. And, it's important not to pour the ash in all at once. It works best when sprinkled lightly over layers during the composting process. Just think of it like seasoning, rather than a primary ingredient. By the time the compost matures, the ash will have mellowed into a far safer, more balanced form. Direct soil application is possible, but only in very specific conditions. It should never be added without knowing your soil's current pH. If your soil is neutral or even just a bit alkaline, adding ash is honestly a direct route to long-term damage. The only time direct use is considered safe is when your soil tests clearly show acidic conditions. Even then, the amount must be extremely small. The safe maximum is between 80 and 100 grams per square meter per year. To help you picture that, it's only about the amount that fits into a small yogurt cup. Many gardeners unknowingly apply 10 times this amount when dumping out fireplace ash, which can lead to a soil imbalance that might take years to reverse. Despite the risks in the garden, wood ash does have one delightfully safe use that honestly surprises many growers. Chickens just love dust baths, and mixing ash with dry soil in a designated bathing area really helps them keep their feathers clean and repel those pesky external pests. Because this use doesn't involve your garden beds or soil ecosystem, it avoids the risks altogether. It provides natural hygiene for poultry while keeping ash out of your planting areas. Some gardeners still believe ash works as a barrier for slugs. While dry ash can irritate slugs temporarily, the effect disappears the moment it absorbs moisture. Dew, rain, or even, humidity renders it useless. Meanwhile, the accumulation in your garden just continues to rise. It's simply not worth using ash for slug control when the risks outweigh the minimal short-lived benefit. The truth is that wood ash is powerful, reactive, and honestly, pretty easy to misuse. It's not the gentle, old-fashioned remedy many gardeners assume it to be. But with knowledge and moderation, it can become a helpful addition to your composting system, rather than a silent soil killer. Respect its strength, apply it carefully, and your garden will thrive without the hidden consequences so many growers accidentally create. If you found this Crop Corner guide valuable and want more science-backed gardening wisdom, make sure you subscribe, share this video, and help other gardeners avoid these costly mistakes. Your soil, your crops, and your future harvests will thank you.